Hey everybody, welcome back to the Graphic Multiverse. I'm your host Paul, joined with Angela, Chandler, Rob.
Hello. I can't whistle either.
And welcoming back to the show, Juan.
Yeah, I'm not whistling either.
That was good though. That was a good start.
If I knew how to whistle, I would have tried to pick it up, but I
can whistle, but it wouldn't be like anything. It'd be like
I thought it was
like it wouldn't be like the Black Widow thing.
Well, if we're talking Black Widow, I thought it would be so appropriate.
No,
if I liked it more, I would have whistled.
It was amazingly appropriate. I loved it.
Yeah.
No, it was great. It was great. And you're going to love this episode because we're going to unpack a lot of Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff because we got to talk about Loki and Black Widow that came out this week, both streaming on Disney Plus, one with the premiere access, one not regular access. I recently spoke to my dad who sat down and watched Endgame. I think I shared the review that my dad had, and it was just a bunch of questions about, was it like guy with stone in his head, blue lady, green lady?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
He was bringing up valid like plot holes though.
He was like, I think he was like, well, how did Cap come back, and why did he come back old?
You just be like, the TVA did it. It's fine.
The TVA did it.
Honestly, I just sent him a video of like, this is gonna explain all of your questions. Just watch that, and he responded, "Hey, that was really good."
Awesome. So in hindsight, he likes it now.
He says, "I think I'm getting it." He's like, "But I think I need to watch it again without commercials." I don't know where he's watching it.
Watch it on like FX or something.
Watching it on TNT.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't get the part about the Mountain Dew and the basketball game, but that's what led into my discussion about Disney Plus. I was like, this is something you might want to look into. I'll make you a profile, and then you can find out about the guy with a stone in his head.
How did y'all watch Black Widow? Did y'all watch it on Disney Plus?
Sure did.
I went to the movies for the first time since Bad Boys for Life.
That's an awesome movie to be like the last one that you saw too. That's fantastic.
Oh
no!
Mine was Birds of Prey.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Was that the last movie we saw in theaters was Birds of Prey?
Yes.
So
I feel like I've talked to a lot of people, and like the top 3 last movies, it's like Bad Boys, Birds of Prey, or The Invisible Man were like the 3
that movie was good
last
too.
Theater
I wanted to
hurrahs.
see Invisible Man.
I still haven't heard it, but I hear it's like real good.
It is.
It's
fucking
scary.
rad. It's really good.
All right, cool. Well, that was my little warm-up intro. I was gonna say how, like, thanks to Disney Plus, people who were not initiated with characters like Vision or Gamora or Nebula, tide is turning. Even if you're like my dad and don't know the correct names, you kind of know what's going on. Purple Man, Blue Lady.
Well, for people like me, it's great because that means I don't have to interact with anybody in public. And I like that. I like that a lot.
That is true. That is true. But I'm excited. I think I want to start off with Black Widow because then we can go into Loki because the finale is this week. We can kind of maybe talk some ideas of how we think it's going to end. So Black Widow. This movie was on hiatus for 2 years, right? It got delayed because of COVID.
Yeah, a year and a half-ish. Was it supposed to be like May of 2020, I want to say?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because it was gonna be, what was it, like Spider-Man Far From Home and then Black Widow.
This one. Yeah.
So I guess the real question is, was it worth the wait?
I will say yes, it was, mostly because the plot has so many similarities to like Winter Soldier and Civil War. It was nice to get like a breather to kind of forget what happened before. So to kind of watch it kind of with fresh eyes. So I think the timing was fine. And like, I think like the foregone conclusion kind of makes it more interesting to watch anyway. So
I'm gonna agree with Chandler in that same respect, that I didn't have that same level of stress that I did after, like, 'cause everything after Civil War just stressed me the hell out, and I didn't really feel that with Black Widow, and that made me happy.
Oh, that's an interesting take.
Well, I mean, considering that, like, one of those films made me start my period 5 days early because it was so stressful. I'm not going to let that go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it stressed me out so much watching Peter Parker get dusted that I started my period 5 days early.
Yeah, it was a rough night.
Yeah, I enjoyed the movie, but I don't think it was, like, I think half the movie, like the half that's just about Black Widow and her sister, I think is strong, but everything that has to do with the bad guy, I think is super weak and forgettable. So I would put it in like mid to lower half of the Marvel movies as far as my like ranking ish. But I mean, you got to make a real stinker for me to not have a good time watching a Marvel movie.
Wow.
If you kind of tacked on the blockbuster elements because they had to like make money.
Yeah.
I like the smaller grounded stuff. That was nicer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Rob in terms of where I rank it. I mean, it's definitely in the bottom half for me. I mean, I put it at number 20 out of 24 movies. And that's not, look, again, I preface this, I love all these Marvel movies. I would watch any of them any day of the week, and I have numerous times. Hold on.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I just think that
this is real world stuff in this podcasting business.
I think the Taskmaster was like a cool design, cool like execution of like the action and stuff. I thought it was cool that they'd made Olga Kurylenko, who's like a supermodel, look like a burned victim who wears a mask the whole time.
And a Bond girl.
I know.
Seemed pretty fitting.
But I just thought they just used Taskmaster like it's the Terminator. Like, she shows up, fights, disappears, shows up, fights, disappears. And then I think the main bad guy is just like, he's just a evil scumbag to be evil. Like, he has no motivation other than wanting to make little girls
being creepy,
kill people.
I think that there's a little more to him than that. And I think that he, and maybe I'm just reading into this too much, but I think he represents pretty much like, I think toxic masculinity at its core. Like, and the idea that, getting rid of emotion and only wanting greed and power and like, and things like that. And I think that's what he was supposed to be, like that representation of, like something that was just so I don't think his motivation was so basic, because I think that those motivations are super basic. Just wanting power and control.
They were fighting the patriarchy.
They were really
I was
were
with their
fighting
floating fortress in the sky.
I
Nobody
definitely
could
got
touch.
the like
nobody could find it.
Like the Harvey Weinstein guy vibe. Like,
I was
just
totally
like
getting that.
super creepy, just disgusting fat slob that just
Let's give it up for Ray Winston,
because
he does a good job at playing a piece of shit in movies.
Oh no, he was a great piece of shit. It was like I was like, why? I get it. Like at one point, I guess you're just working for the Russian government. They'd probably shoot you in the head if you don't. You're a spy. I get that stuff, but like once it's the future still, and he has a floating fortress that nobody detected or knows about, and even Black Widow is like, why are you doing this? Nobody even knows you're doing it.
No. And I think that is for me, that is the answer. It's like, there is that big question of why. Like, why are you even doing that? Like, what is the point? Where, like, I think
because
that,
again,
we live in a world now where it's like there are so many resources to go around for everybody. We don't need to, we're so intelligent and we have so much technology at our fingertips that the world can function really well and very efficiently without the bullshit, and yet we still do because of guys like that, and there are too fucking many of them. And I think I think that that I think when I hear you, Rob, say like, why that's so like stupid, it's like, yes, now you know how we feel.
Oh no, I mean,
Because we've been saying this. It's so stupid.
No, yeah, for sure.
What's the point?
I actually thought that was what Taskmaster was going to be, that he was like the embodiment of like toxic masculinity, because in the comics, right, he's a jerk, he's a he, and that's just like a kind of like a God-given ability that he has this like visual memory. Like Ida Decker, like, yeah, he sees somebody do it and then he can do it. And then and you go into the little comic book lore, he was a member of S.H.I.E.L.D., gets injected with a version of the super soldier serum, but every time he learns something new, it forces out his foundation, so he starts losing who he is. And then he's just like this jerk bro killing machine for money. So I thought like Taskmaster was actually gonna be like, oh, look what I can do without even trying. Taskmaster. My dick.
Well, I did think the whole thing with the Black Widows was just one big allegory for human trafficking and just how, like, yeah, little girls are used and abused in our world to a grotesque level. I mean, and yeah, it seems so cool. Like if it's just like, if they were just like trained assassins, it's like, I'd much rather that than the reality of like child sex trafficking. So, trigger alert. Sorry, we should probably do a trigger warning.
I think anybody who follows the show at this point, I mean,
sorry.
Yeah, we dive in.
Should do the trigger warning before
seriously,
I say
if you're listening and getting offended, I mean, come on, what's going on?
And I know.
Sorry, I missed a whole bunch of stuff.
No, that's okay.
I wasn't like in terms of offending people. Just like I was trying to be more sensitive to, because talking about that kind of stuff can be very difficult for a lot of people, and I want to be respectful of that.
No, that's a good point. No, that's very sensitive of you.
Thank you.
But I know. I think we were kind of starting to do our initial reactions. I know, Juan, you were starting to get into yours, and then you were called away.
Yeah. Children will do that. But I mean, to Angela's point right now, I mean, the credits of the movie where they're playing Smells Like Teen Spirit, I don't know if anybody mentioned this or not, but really hammered home that fact. And I thought that was excellent. There's a lot of stuff in the movie that I liked execution wise. The action was pretty solid.
Yeah, the fight sequences were out of control.
The fight sequences were good. I mean, her sister, I thought, stole the movie. For all intents and purposes, it didn't really feel like a Black Widow movie once her sister came on the screen. It felt more like her movie, and everybody else just kind of accepting the fact that, like, oh yeah, she's right. Like, we really are a family. And it really meant a lot more to all of us being undercover than we want to admit that it did. I saw on Twitter somewhere that Red Guardian, one of his prison tattoos on his arm, is Natasha and Yelena's names in Russian.
Yeah, it's like sounds like right arm, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a great sequence, by the way.
That stuff I liked, but I mean, was it worth the wait? Nah, not for me. Yeah. Not for the time and place that it happened in, because this is supposed to happen in like the week between like the end of Civil War and I guess what happens in Infinity War. And that's a lot of stuff. Like, if I was Natasha, I would have been fucking exhausted. I had bags under my eyes showing up in Infinity War. Like, it was.
She got a good 5-year break afterwards, so.
I thought it was a good 5-year break, but
but
she seemed pretty stressed out after those 5 years.
Yeah,
I don't know. And the Taskmaster stuff, just not. Oh, man, I'm very disappointed. It's the first time in a long time I can say like I'm flat out disappointed with their whole choice and like villain and stuff like that. Like, just Dragov and Dragov's daughter. I mean, even narratively speaking, you undo the cool thing that you referenced 20 minutes before you undo it with the reveal at the end. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
finding out.
I agree with you. Narratively,
Yeah.
like, yeah, the third act was, I think, the weakest.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying, it was like they couldn't double down on the premise of Black Widow being a child killer. You know, it was like, oh, if she's alive, then she kind of gets absolved of that. Because remember when we saw her get blown up, you and I looked at each other like, holy shit, they are going there.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that Black Widow does not fuck around.
But I like I did really enjoy the themes of the film with like because the big theme was like forgiveness, and I think it's very timely. And I mean, yeah, there was a lot of like anti-toxic masculinity in it, and I think in the third act they were starting to beat you over the head with it, but it wasn't. But by the time they pulled back, I felt like with the whole plummeting into it took me I had to watch it a second time to figure out how the hell she survived that. Like,
It was pretty ridiculous. There's a scene in the movie where she like falls out of like a 5th story window and goes like bang, 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 and then stands up, and I'm just like,
how?
Why? I maybe hitting
some type of
one
addressing
thing.
of
Maybe
of
hitting
what the
one
suit
thing.
is. Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I know exactly that scene because I thought that too. Because like the other girl's laying there in the fucking puddle, like
with the broken leg.
yeah, and she's just like, "Owie, ooh."
Yeah.
Beauty is never tarnished.
I love David Harbour in this movie. I thought he was super funny.
Yeah.
Every time he was on screen.
I would watch a Red Guardian movie for him. Even like some Marvel one shot.
Oh,
if they want to do like a short, do those shorts again.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish he was in more of the movie. That's my big problem with it. Like he's there as kind of like a one-note joke repeatedly until he like gets Yelena out of her hole emotionally by singing the song to her.
I like that scene.
I like that too. He's kind of like a Homer
scene.
Simpson though. Homer Simpson's just like he's a buffoon until he's like cares a little bit.
There is a little bit more depth, and that's the thing. Like, because it's hard with the movie because I think we are getting spoiled with the series because we get to really have so much more time with these characters. Like we had time with Bucky and you know Sam. Like we had that time with you know Wanda and all that stuff. So I felt like we didn't really get that time with them, but I did like that he wasn't an entirely likable person. Like you definitely were like, God, you're such a
selfish
dick.
Asshole.
Yeah, you're so like, I don't know. Maybe all of us with like not so great dads can like relate to like to like it's like, oh, why can't you just like
not
just for a second put me first. Like,
that's why I love when at the end with like, are you gonna say something? He's like, I just mess it up.
Yeah,
like
that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Black Widow. I've actually never really come to terms with how I have felt about Black Widow throughout this entire series. I mean, I like her; she's cool, you know, and she's always kind of like a sideline character. Or I don't know, and that's just me. And I feel like anytime they try to like beef up her story, it just didn't. It felt forced. Like the whole thing with her and Bruce Banner and Age of Ultron.
Yeah, that always felt
for
weird.
sure.
You know, so that's kind of how I felt about the movie a little bit. Like I really liked the movie, and that shit falling from the sky, like fighting Taskmaster on the fucking thing. You know, did the sword and shit. Fucking loved it. I don't care how fucking stupid it looked. I loved it. I'm here for it. But yeah, I don't know. I think like somebody said that like that like Scarlett Johansson looked kind of bored in this movie, and that's kind of how I feel about her in every movie, that she's just like kind of bored and just there. And I think seeing that continuously for a length of a movie was like,
so you know what I found really interesting was that this was the one movie where I felt like I got more of a view on her as a character, because you know she's this assassin and everybody can like, and the whole point is that she's blank and everybody can kind of imprint whatever they want to on her. And in this, you know, it was so funny. Like I kept thinking about that quote from what she said to Steve in Winter Soldier when she's like, I only act like I know everything. And I kept kind of hearing that while watching her. And I'm like, oh, she's just emotionally stunted, like completely emotionally stunted. And she's just putting on the act that she knows what she's doing when she's literally just acting and reacting and not like she just seemed like this really emotionally stunted person. And I thought that was fascinating.
I think the scene that I liked was her eating noodles watching a Bond movie. Like I was like, I feel like that seemed genuine to me. That was
like talking along with it. Like
yeah,
it was funny. I mean, they definitely did do things in the movie to try to give her more depth, and they probably did. But my whole big thing with the movie, and I guess why it probably had a different experience from the other Marvel movies, is because there's absolutely zero stakes in this. Like zero, beyond zero. Like we know that she dies in another movie. We know that it comes much later after the events of the movie that we're like watching. So the only the curiosity factor in watching the movie is like, well, I wonder what's going to happen to the other side characters when this is over. And they only answer it for her sister. Like they don't really answer it for Red Guardian, which, okay, maybe he shows up again in the future. Cool. That'll be fun. It felt like it was a waste of Rachel Weisz. Like the character's just a talking exposition MacGuffin thing.
Yeah.
With no actual
hot. Yeah.
She hasn't aged in like 25 years. She
I could just watch her do anything.
It's because of the fountain.
Yeah. I see what you did there. God damn it. But no, I mean, I always want a lot more of her on screen, and it felt like she was bored, like when she was telling Natasha about the pheromone stuff at the end, like, and it does that weird cut, and it's like, oh yeah, and by the way, he has a pheromone thing, so here you go, figure out that cheat code with that information, and see you later. And then it cuts back to her, and then the next time we see her, they're all like hugging, like, I guess we're family, bye bye. And it's, I don't know.
I get what you're saying, because I was telling Angela that afterwards I'm totally okay with movies taking place between other movies. Like if they wanted to do like a Falcon, Steve, Black Widow, Black Ops, Secret Avengers movie, I would be all about that.
When they were on the run,
okay,
cool,
yeah.
But and then Taskmaster is not a Russian woman. I'm sorry, like, hey. Girl power, all right? And I have a wonderful single mother who raised me and two amazing sisters that have done great jobs with their kids, and an awesome younger sister and a fantastic wife. So I love women empowerment and all of that.
I get really worried when you start your sentiment with that about all the women that you love, and I'm like, okay, he's about to say some crazy shit.
No, it's not crazy at all. It's just I want things the way I expect them in certain, like in entertainment. Like Taskmaster is a dude with a relatively stupid sounding power who has gone toe to toe with like 8 or 9 Avengers. Like that's the thing. Like it's not like he's fighting like Captain America and like whips his ass once in a while. Like he's fighting with these stupid mimicry powers against like Thor and Iron Man and Captain America and War Machine, and he's holding them all to a fucking standstill. And the movie just puts it in a helmet and then gives it to this girl that you showed me was blown up. Like, okay, you show a chip on the back of her neck. Like, why not go full route? Make her a full-on cyborg. You know what I mean? Like, do something to make it a bit more believable. That reveal completely ruined the movie, because I'm like, how is she supposed to be doing flips and everything else? Like,
she survived a bombing.
Yeah, I have close family friends that have had horrible instances, like 3rd and 4th degree burns. Like, that shit requires skin grafts and like,
I don't know if
a lot of pain. And
I thought because her head looks so much smaller on the body, I thought that she was a cyborg. That's what I thought.
And who knows? Maybe she is. Maybe that's in the sequel.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a narrative fault of the movie.
I just think Taskmaster was just, there was nothing there to me. Like
there's no character.
When you were out earlier, I basically just described it as a Terminator. It just shows up just to be a thing to fight. And to me, I don't care at all if you change the origin of a character. Like, whatever. If the twist that it wasn't whoever it was in the comic doesn't bug me. I just thought that it was just a waste of a character in the movie. Like, it was the reveal to me. I was just like, huh.
So like,
Okay.
15
Like, I felt nothing by showing that it was his daughter.
Yeah,
And-
well, I think if they had given her agency,
Yeah.
like if it was like a revenge thing that like I'm going to get you because you did this to me, and not a chip that my dad put in me, you know,
Like,
like
the dad was like more remorseful and was like angry
Right.
at her. She
Yeah,
was like,
there's-
well, she was just a casualty.
yeah, like if it was a
Right.
I guess I don't have a problem with it being a female taskmaster if it was done like Juan said, where it like has this power and can go toe to toe with these dudes, and it's like nothing.
Yeah, they just
But
make
just
it a
explain it
character.
better.
Just
Yeah.
like
explain it better. Like, don't just say like,
Speaking lines.
this is the blown up victim that we put a mask on and is somehow now terrorizing these incredibly well trained Black Widows. That the movie goes through an exorbitant amount of effort to show us are like badasses. That whole scene where they're getting chased by like 5 or 6 widows, and the one widow fucks up and breaks her leg. The other ones are getting pretty close to capturing their targets, you know, like, yeah, I don't know. And in the comics, they did this whole thing like 10 or 15 years ago where they amended it. So like Taskmaster's memory copying thing, like, has fucked up his short-term memory. So
I was
like
actually
he can
talking about that while you were away.
yeah, and that's like, that would have been a really cool thing to see, like, you know, if there was some member of the Red Room who has gone through this type of therapy and now no longer remembers his name, any of his targets' names. All they can remember is what they were taught to see, mimic, and execute. Like, you know what I mean? Like, any number of ways you could have made that character way more interesting than just like, we're going to reveal that it's the daughter and also like reference, you know, a cool line from Avengers, and then undo it narratively in the third act anyway and make it even dumber.
See, to me, I just think this movie is just all, like you said, I think it is just setting up Florence Pugh's character as like an MCU character. And I thought that was, I liked her the whole time.
She was great.
If it was just
She's
her
awesome.
and Black Widow palling around, like, I don't care if there's no stakes. It was literally just them hanging out, like occasionally get into scuffles or whatever. I'd be like, all right, I'm down for this.
I
And,
also have a theory that I think Joss Whedon probably did a script treatment of this movie. Like, I'm pretty sure he did an uncredited draft.
Why do you think that?
I don't know if you have seen the clips, but there's like a media call, and it's like everybody from the cast on Zoom, and Scarlett's talking about the movie, and she's talking about like the great director, and then she like gives Joss Whedon a shout out. She's like, Joss Whedon, an incredible storyteller, joke writer. And like when she does it, like everybody on the call, like their faces all like change. Everybody gets like super frozen. And like Kevin Feige looks like he's trying to not have like a meltdown on camera.
Oh no.
Oh man, I got to see this.
And then, yeah. And then she's like, I forget what, and then she finishes the quote with like the Russos, and the Russos are like great producers. I know they produced this.
Yeah.
And I know that.
So maybe they don't want people to know that Joss Whedon.
Or it
possible.
could just be they just don't want to bring up Joss Whedon,
It's
considering
possible.
his recent allegations against him.
Yeah, which, yeah.
But like, also wouldn't pass Disney or any executive to be like, listen, we pay him under the table.
Yep.
Nobody knows. Like, I just would not be surprised Hollywood doing underhanded, shady shit like that.
Well, it stuck out with me in the movie that like Avengers was the 6th movie or the 5th movie of these, right? Something pretty early. This is the 24th movie. There's almost 20 movies in between, and you're gonna call out like or strongly reference like one kind of sort of throwaway line from the Avengers movie, and then extrapolate it and kind of make it this bigger plot point in this movie. It just feels a little bit too on the nose.
Total Joss move.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like it's the movie's about women characters, right? Overcoming the control of basically a dude. I just described every season of Buffy and
Dolls.
every character journey of every female character in Angel, like right there. So, you know, it wouldn't surprise me.
What do y'all think about the post-credit scene?
I mean, I am always happy when I see Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Always. And I love that, it's just great seeing that, how am I trying to say it? Like, it's just good. I mean,
well, for one thing, it was the most obvious bridge between the TV shows and the movies we've seen yet.
Yeah.
Considering it's the first movie post to the TV shows. But so I think there's two things that are obvious in my head. One is like, is this going to be the Thunderbolts?
See, everybody's saying
that's the obvious one.
I'll come back to that.
This is my theory. I think that Valentina, whatever her name is a Skrull. And she's fucking up stuff from the inside, and this will all come to a head in the Secret Invasion show.
Ooh.
That's what I'm thinking. Because she's kind of working within the government, but I don't think the government would want to kill Hawkeye. But there's some weird shit. Well, I mean, you never know. He killed a bunch of people in Japan and shit.
Rhodey was working for the government. He still had his, his title, his military status in Endgame when he's talking to Nat about Clint killing everybody in Mexico.
Yeah.
So
I just think the Thunderbolts seems obvious to me, but then I was just like, there is a Secret Invasion show, and maybe because
somebody's got to be a Skrull.
In Secret Invasion, the comic books, she was
a power broker.
If she was one of the first people revealed to be a Skrull in the comic book.
That's why I think Marvel won't make her a Skrull, and I think they'll make someone like Sharon Carter a Skrull, because everybody be like, "What's going on? We're supposed to we trust her," and then we realize we shouldn't have. I think they're just going to make it Dark Avengers. Everybody's saying Thunderbolts, but I think I would see it more likely them doing a Dark Avengers, especially the type of thing where they would announce a new team lineup with US Agent, with Yelena Belova, with probably Zemo dressed as Citizen V.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Right, with someone like Abomination on the team to be their quote unquote muscle without, letting him actually talk. And they would be the Dark Avengers as a way to kind of undercut whatever Avengers squad ends up forming to stop Kang. But that would be me. I can't really predict stuff with Marvel anymore, WandaVision, where you're like, Mephisto's gonna show up, and then nobody showed up.
Yeah.
And then Falcon, Winter Soldier were like, oh, it's Power Broker. It's gonna be someone awesome. It's gonna be this person, or or it's gonna be Arnim Zola. Nobody. It was just Sharon Carter. And it's Loki. Loki's gonna be great. Loki's gonna face someone in the TVA. Maybe Kang shows up. We're going to Renslayer. But no, it's just gonna be another Loki.
I have a theory about that too. I agree with the TV shows. I think it's always someone we've seen before.
Yep.
But I think with Loki, I think there's going to be a Kang reference. I don't think Kang's going to be the big bad, but I think Kang is going to, maybe they're going to queue up Kang for Ant-Man or something. Just because there's so many things in Loki that directly reference Kang for nerds.
Right.
But I don't think they're going to make it the big bad, because if Kang is all of a sudden the big bad guy, we would be like, oh, Kang! But my sister is going to be like, another green guy?
Yeah. Right. And also the show's Loki, right? It's about Loki. And I feel like whoever it is, Juan saying, it's going to be a variant of Loki.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too.
I can see that.
That they, and I think, and the whole theme of the show, right, is I think just about learning about yourself, and self-acceptance. And so I think the big bad would be themselves, I mean, that's my 2 cents on it. Because, we're watching Loki. I mean, that was the great thing about the most recent episode, was seeing Loki, when he's seeing all the other Lokis betray each other, he's like, Jesus Christ, am I really this lame and predictable? And, so, I wouldn't be surprised if it was I don't know, super bad Loki. A Breaking Bad Loki. I don't know how many other bads for Loki, but
yeah, we'll see. I mean, if anybody can give it range, it'll be Hiddleston. We've already seen that, just a short amount of time. His President Loki was awesome.
That was
and Get Bitten Off was even funnier.
Yeah.
So that was great. And I saw someone point out online that young Loki or Kid Loki and Crocodile Loki did Get Help.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
I saw that.
That's awesome. The
That's
Thanos
fantastic.
copter also absolutely.
Oh, that was good.
I
Very
was
happy to see that.
I was done. The rest of the episode could have ended. Like, it could have just stopped right there, and I would have been happy. I would have been like, that was a 10-star episode of Loki. Did you see the Thanos copter?
I love that it was just very much like Easter egg paradise at the end of that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
Frog.
Yeah,
Frog.
that was
So
great.
good.
Stuck in a jar.
Trying to get to Mjolnir.
Ugh.
That's what made it so good, because Mjolnir is like buried like just a couple of inches from that canister.
Yeah. So mean.
Mm-hmm.
I like that somebody said it was like a callback to when Thor was stuck in that glass container in Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. But no, I would laugh if, unlike WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier, they pull a hard left when they've been going right. Like, it's Doctor Doom, and everyone shits a brick. Like a big bad that nobody saw coming. It's Magneto. He doesn't even have time travel powers, but magnetism.
They just save all of the crazy nerdy reveals for this show, and they're just like, haha, see, we're crazy. And you're like, what?
Just like,
it's the most unsatisfying ending ever. It's just
yeah,
that'd be pretty funny.
it would be.
That's going to be like one of the shows coming up. Like, they're going to do it. I mean, they've had this whole run of these successful like launches for these shows, and there's a show coming up at some point where they're going to be like, everybody expects it to be all within the show. We're going to fuck them up and give them something huge, like at the end.
Right.
Like,
it's a time variant evil Captain America.
Or
like
like
Captain America that went rogue, bringing the stones back.
Or they kill off Nick Fury at the end of Secret Invasion to let you know that the Sentinels are not fucking around, or the Skrulls. I call them Sentinels, but you know how my mind works. I just want X-Men.
Skrulls who morph
everybody.
into Sentinels.
Well, they, Secret Invasion had the Super Skrulls that everybody was running around with.
Right.
So there was like the X-Men Super Skrull, which awesome idea, but terrible in execution.
Yeah, it was like a Skrull with like the Cyclops.
Mm-hmm.
Blast.
Then, Colossus armor.
It was like, let's take the best of all of these guys and we'll mishmash.
There's just one Super Skrull. There's just one.
Yeah.
But hopefully we don't see him until Fantastic Four.
I am still so incredibly happy that that's happening. When? I don't know. But I'm excited to see, because I feel like under Feige, we'll get a good Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Like, I think we'll finally get a good Reed Richards. I think I can only hope we get like a Jonathan Hickman Reed Richards, and not like, the Reed Richards we got in the previous Fantastic Four movies. Any of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reed's a very interesting character. Like, you gotta get the... I feel like no one's ever done the, like... He's a good guy, but he also cares so much more about science than everybody else in his life at times that it's like he's a dick. It's such like a hard balance. Right. Yeah, Hickman nails it, but
I for in the time I've read Fantastic Four, I never understood why Sue stuck around. Like, the most realistic thing about Civil War was like when she took off.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, it's about goddamn time that she was like, fuck you, fuck this, like,
I'm out. Yeah.
Yeah, no. She can go hook up with Namor and probably have a better time.
Under the sea, downward sweater,
Nimbus.
downward sweater. Oh yeah,
Mr. Nimbus himself.
But no, I will say with like the Disney Plus stuff, I mean, just consistently good, even without a Mephisto or.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's all enjoyable. It's all going to be good. Like, that's the thing. We're going to get to the end of Loki, and then we'll talk about this the next time. We'll be like, Loki was as good as Falcon and Winter Soldier, which was as good as WandaVision, which was as good as, like, any of the MCU movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then, like, again, even just thinking about it, like, Angela's right. We did have a lot of time with these characters, and it's very hard to go from, like, basically these 3 5.5-hour movies we've been given to like a 2-hour and 5-minute movie, and I'm like, here you go, be satisfied. Like,
right.
I don't know. Maybe I need to watch Widow again. We'll see. Maybe it moves up.
Well, here's the thing though about Black Widow, and I think Marvel movies in general. is that even the movies, and this is for me, I don't want to speak on behalf of anybody, but I feel like even the movies that are lower on my list, I still fucking enjoy.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
you
I
know,
still give
like
them
I
a B.
mean, like, and
Like
that's
the
why.
lowest graded movie would be like a B for me, to be
Yeah,
honest. Like
right.
maybe a B minus, but that almost all of them are like B plus, A minus.
I know it's so
A's.
good. It's so
Yeah.
good that like that we have that like that in the amount of movies and now TV shows that they've done where it's like wow, like
No other franchise.
yeah, like
No other
like
franchise comes close to that level of satisfaction
No,
with that number
like-
of movies. Not any of the Bond movies.
Oh,
Certainly.
no.
I mean, maybe you can make an argument for the Harry Potter movies. There's what, 8 of them, and they're
Yeah.
all pretty good, right? Like,
Yeah.
but you can't. Nothing else. I can't
Yeah.
think of anything else.
even like the Ed Norton Hulk. I know people have to trash that movie, but like if that's on, I'm gonna watch it and
I
I'll
still
enjoy it.
say Moss stretchy when I want jogging pants. I still say Moss stretchy.
Well, I mean, it's
So-
like they've at least kept that movie relevant too. Like we still have the
Bringing
same
back William
Ross, Abomination apparently having showing up in Shang-Chi. Like
more comic book accurate with the bat ear, wing ear. I'm
Mhm.
having a stroke. Bat, yeah, you know.
Maybe he got blipped and then he came back and they were there.
Or what if he is getting some more dosages of the super
Gamma
soldier
lab.
serum from Sharon Carter, and it's like a variant, you know. And that's where I sometimes wonder about General Ross, because if Ross and Carter are on the side doing deals, if Blonsky's still working for Ross, it's like, hey girl, I know you got that good blue shit that we all like. And she's like, it's not the same, but it's different, but it's good. You'll love it. Trust me.
Wow.
And yeah.
I'm here for the movie where Sharon Carter turns into Louise from Ant-Man, and she's then doing all of these interactions with Ross. I would be all for it.
Or it's him recanting, like retelling the story of the deal.
Right. Oh, that would be so dope. See,
I
that
am
needs
sad-
to be an Ant-Man Wasp.
See, I'm mad that they didn't do like a recap, like right up until Infinity War or Endgame with him. Just like him doing all of the movies, that would have been great. Another Marvel one shot. See, I missed the Marvel one shots. Those were good. Like because Marvel one shots. I mean, that was the one that confirmed that the Mandarin was really out there.
Right.
You know, that it wasn't Ben Kingsley. Which also, if we can somehow get Trevor back in the MCU, I would not complain. I know a lot of people were upset about that reveal, but like
That was my favorite.
I mean, the Mandarin's men took him in, like teach him a lesson. It's like, so if he's like working for the Mandarin somehow,
right?
Ole, fuck yeah, do it.
That'd be pretty good.
Ben Kingsley was fantastic in that movie.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
So, and they also brought back Hammer for that one shot. And we know Justin Hammer's going to come back for Armor Wars.
So Armor Wars. So
I'm telling you, man, Marvel's got to do more one shots. Those were great. There was like a nice little bonus for the Blu-ray releases, which I know.
Yeah.
Everything's digital now, but still.
Everything's digital. Yeah.
But you know, get a one shot when you buy it. Like.
Yeah.
Give it here.
No,
I am all for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can put that stuff on like features. I don't know if anybody's seen the extras for Endgame, but they're all on Disney Plus.
Yeah, they could easily add that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that going back to Black Widow, again, that Endgame death that they put as a bonus is so much better than the one that made it into the movie. It's infuriatingly better. Because the one in the movie, again, they're just having this like, why are her and Hawkeye fighting to see like who deserves death sooner? Like it's so dumb, especially if they're like really close friends and she knows that he just lost his family and like her dying would bring them back. Like that would be an obvious one. Like they wouldn't be fighting, you know?
Yeah.
And then like the deleted scene, they're not fighting. They get attacked by Thanos and she only jumps off the cliff when she sees Thanos' silhouette step off a ship. Because she knows if she dies immediately, Clint gets the stone and he gets to get the fuck out of there. Like, way better.
That it makes way more
better.
sense to me.
Way better death than what
Yeah.
we got. Like, yeah. Can't recommend it enough.
It's like, I can't let you go. Let me go. I can't do it. I can't. I can't.
No. Ridiculous.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, that scene would have been great. However, that scene still got me because I like
Definitely got
I
me.
was like, because at first I was like, oh, it's Hawkeye, this is Black Widow, and then like, and I was like, oh my god, I need a fucking nap after that scene because I just
Yeah.
didn't know what was gonna happen.
It's like, come on, guys, you kill your one female founding Avenger. Like, what the fuck?
Dude,
Everybody,
I gotta
like,
say, not seeing Black Widow at the battle at Endgame like really bums me out. Especially when you get the A team there showing up, like she's not alone. Like as no Black Widow, that really fucking bothers me still.
That's her moment that she should have had in the sequel. It should have been Clint, or it should have been anybody else, and then you could have set the Hawkeye series in between Endgame or prior to Endgame and what we saw. You know?
Yeah, I also I don't get me wrong, and again, this is coming from somebody who knows that we're all spoiled from all the goodness, but like I think about all the different ways that like Endgame could have wrapped up. Like, what was that one theory you told me about where like if they all fucking joined hands the way they did in fucking Guardians?
Yeah,
and like
that would have been a great tie-in to Guardians too. Like,
that's awesome that
they
you said
all-
like Guardians. That's great because that doesn't get referenced enough either.
that would have been a great tie-in because if they all like, because there's so, I mean, it's just like, there were so many of them, and
There was like 20 something.
Wong was like, you wanted more, and it's like if they were able to like
they
join
all
hands
could
and
have
all
shouldered
do
that,
it, yeah,
and then be
shouldered it
like,
while Tony did the snap,
like,
it would
bye,
have been like,
bitch.
oh yay,
yeah, and that would have been a nice callback to the first Guardians movie.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know, like I mean, if only somebody was there with a robot arm who could have done the snap. Well,
I don't know if only like Rocket had remembered that he was one of the people that held the other Guardians' hands at the end of the first Guardian movie. He could have been like, hey, you know what, guys? Me and like 4 of my friends held the Power Stone and like totally used it once.
Yeah, and I'm a raccoon,
Like
so if I could
20
take
of
that
us.
shit,
right?
yeah,
Exactly. Like, there's an Asgardian here. There's a gamma irradiated monster over here. There's a guy who's covered in pin particles over here. Maybe if we all join hands, we could do it.
I mean, and I know that would have been really like cheesy, like a total, Captain Planet moment, but I would have loved it.
Do you know the tears that would have come out of my face if that had happened? I'd be like, oh my god. Like,
that would have been like Avengers Assemble. They all would have like grabbed hands. See, right there.
People all over the world join hands.
But
Fuck
it's
you,
making me think
Thanos.
of the end of Us. I'm glad that because you're like, I wanted them all to join hands, and in my brain I'm like in Us at the end, because that's
hands across the
dark
nation.
ending. Like, whew.
No,
But yeah, Guardians makes point.
because that would have been great. Like, it's a team moment. They're doing it together. And I mean, it just felt like, okay, you clearly wanted to write Tony out, and I feel like you could have done that a different way than just him being, and I am Iron Man.
Well, I like that final line for Tony. That's the final thing he says in the first movie, and it's just
I
good.
know.
It's a good ad lib too. It's a great ad lib.
Haven't heard though Chandler's take on Loki,
Oh, I'm sorry.
and I would like to hear that.
Oh, sure. I really liked it. It was very visually stunning. I do feel like it was a little predictable at times, but at the same time, it's like you're making it for the masses, so you can't be like too complex. But I liked it's like a really good character study. A lot of meta humor and like Loki kind of being able to like everyone kind of like ragging on Loki. So then he starts.
Well, I
I
guess I have the ultimate question for you, Chandler. Would you fall in love with yourself?
No.
Not even if it was
a
feisty, like
a sexy version of yourself.
No.
Not that you aren't
Yeah,
sexy
not
now.
that you're not sexy, but like,
I feel like I would think of them as like a sibling, so it's kind of like awkward. So
yeah, I still know how I feel about the romanticness of it.
I don't know. That seems pretty on brand.
It's
You know what I
very
mean? 'Cause
on
my
the
voice just
nose
cracked.
as
It's
just
on
like
brand.
it's like, of course, the most narcissistic character in the universe would fall in love with themselves, but
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. It fits for Loki for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I think we both were like, yeah, I support this.
it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, he needs to love somebody, right?
Right.
Always good to start with yourself.
That's true. There it is with Loki being meta. It's he doesn't grow until he started to love himself.
Yeah.
And then once he did, then
Magic happened.
Yeah.
I love that line. Love is like a dagger. Like even though like she kind of like ruins that metaphor, it's like that shit's gonna be on T-shirts and
Someone
love
got
that, like-
tattooed.
really.
I'm just saying. Probably.
Loki is one big metaphor for loving yourself, and Black Widow is one big metaphor for your child human trafficking.
That's what we've
That's
learned.
where we're at.
That's what
Yeah.
we've learned. Yeah.
That's some heavy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You can find both of those T-shirts at your nearest Hot Topic.
Yep.
Love is a dagger, and
Fight human trafficking with the Black Widow logo on
Thank
it.
you.
Please fight
Yeah.
human trafficking.
Right.
Girl power.
Yeah.
yeah. If you take anything from this,
If you take anything from any of this,
It's
it's
mind control is
real,
wrong.
and
yeah,
And it's
human
a
trafficking is
thing.
real, and it's a
Yeah.
thing, and it sucks.
Yeah.
I heard it. Yeah. Well, I heard a really intriguing NPR story about human trafficking, and it's like
Yeah.
crazy that it happens in the world that we live in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But
Even crazier that like Super Bowl weekend is like probably the worst time for trafficking in the United States.
Whoa, I did not know
Yeah.
that.
That does not
That is
surprise me.
Horrible, horrible fact that I found out when the Super Bowl was in Houston a couple of years ago, because I live in Texas and I couldn't escape the stories about like what to do, signs of human trafficking. Like, why are there so many stories about this? And then it was like, yeah, that is like Super Bowl is their Super Bowl. And yeah, fucked up.
yeah.
Yep.
This world is terrible.
Yeah, they're horrible.
Aren't you
and-
glad you listened? But it's
Yeah.
it's the world we live in. We try to sprinkle some hard truth with some.
Go
Love
enjoy
of-
Black Widow, a totally fictional movie.
Well, no, I think that Black Widow, I think it's a good message
Mhm.
because more people are going to see a movie about like, super female spies than they
True.
are
Like a
an actual
documentary.
documentary on human trafficking. And it's like the way this world treats girls is disgusting and it needs to stop. And when you look at a character like Dreykov and you think, wow, what a one-dimensional, like bland
Yeah.
dude. It's like, yeah, that's exactly who these people are.
Right.
That's exactly who they are. They are very real and they want global domination for no reason other than the fact that they have nothing else going for them. So they just want to control and manipulate other people. So
Accurate.
vote, guys. Get out there. Like,
Yes.
start the revolution.
Please vote.
Protect some ladies.
Mhm.
Protect each other. Be good to each other.
Yeah.
And stop, like, tax billionaires because they're going to space.
Yeah.
And we need to eat.
Yeah.
Kinda
that should. That
I
one should
went
be
there.
obvious.
Yeah.
It's like there's only 3 of them. They'll be
Right.
fine. Okay.
They can afford it.
They
They
can.
can
They're,
certainly
they're still
afford
going to
it.
be billionaires afterward. Come on.
Right. Yeah. No, if you can make a superhero movie that can make you think, that's a win.
Then do it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I know that we are coming up on that time of the episode where we talk about things that we've been reading, watching, listening to, things that anybody wants to recommend on today's episode.
Me first. I finally
Nice.
started the X-Men Mega Event 10 of Swords. I'm like a year late, but I'm really enjoying it. Love the mythology that they're introducing. Really interested to see what they're going to reference like a decade or 2 decades from now from this. But
Yeah.
it's cool.
I should reread that because I remember. See, here's the thing about Hickman. I love reading his stuff, but I do find myself at certain points thinking that I don't know if I'm smart enough for this. And so I think, like all Hickman runs, I'm gonna reread it all when it's done and be like, oh, okay, I get it now. Because
Well, I think
sometimes,
with Hickman, like even when he introduces like a complex concept, he kind of like depicts it later, so it makes sense for you.
Mhm.
yeah. But yeah, I'll have to read that again though, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still need to catch up on the Hickman X-Men stuff. I went down like a deep ultimate Marvel hole in the past 2 weeks. Like I've read like close to 60 comics, like just so I got a free trial to Comixology Unlimited. And they just have a bunch of first volumes of stuff on there, and they had like the Ultimates Volume 1. I'm like, I haven't read the Ultimates in like 5 or 6 years. I'll just reread this. And then I reread Ultimates like 1, and I was like, damn, that's good. And then I instantly just jumped into Ultimates 2, and I was like, damn, that's good. And then I started
skipped 3.
I haven't got there yet. I'm going in like
better.
chronological order. Jeff Loeb's name has showed up once so far in what I've read, and it was the worst thing I've read yet. But so then
It's a harbinger.
I read the speaking of harbingers and stuff of that nature, I read the Ultimate Galactus trilogy, which was like Ultimate Secret, Ultimate Nightmare, and Ultimate Extinction, I think are the 3, written by Warren Ellis. And those I think were really good. I think the first part, when they like just go to that base in Russia and find the ultimate version of Vision, who was like sent to Earth to like warn people 100 years ago, but the Soviet Union just kept him in a cave.
Right. Right.
Makes sense.
I thought that was cool. And then I thought it got kind of weaker towards the end of it. And then I thought the very end where they actually fight the Galactus swarm thing, the way they handled it was cool, but I felt rushed. Which kind of a bummer.
Right.
Like Reed Richards directs the Big Bang from a new universe at Galactus through a portal. I'm like, that's some Reed Richards ass shit right there. But
Yeah.
and then
good.
I just started reading Ultimate Power, which is like the crossover with Supreme Power, which is like when they brought they tried to like modernize the Squadron Supreme in the mid 2000s.
That stuff
Oh,
is great.
jeez.
And
That Supreme Power stuff.
yeah, the crossover, the Ultimate Universe started out cool, and then at the end it was kind of just like we're done, and that was the part Jeff Loeb wrote, and I was like, well, I see where this is heading, and I'm approaching Ultimatum, which is, I know, the death of the Ultimate Universe essentially, but I'm gonna read Ultimate Origin next, and then I'm not going to reread Ultimatum. I can't bring myself, or Ultimates 3. But
You know what I did like about Ultimatum was the Bendis stuff, the Bendis Spider-Man stuff that he wrote. I thought that was actually
that was really cool.
Yeah, I thought that was actually, and it had made Jameson kind of switch his opinion on Spider-Man. I like that stuff, but that's also because that was written by a writer.
Yeah, like everything I've read Mark Miller's written has been great. Everything Bendis has written has been great. The Warren Ellis stuff has been great, and then I just know as soon as it gets to the Jeff Loeb stuff, I'm just gonna be like,
And it's a bummer because I used to like Jeff Loeb a lot.
This stuff is so good, and it holds up so well. And the MCU took so much stuff, especially from the Ultimates. It's crazy that this, like, essentially just like a what if line was like super popular and like running concurrently with like the 616 stuff, and then Ultimatum just kills it, and it's so sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, after Ultimatum, you have Hickman's run on the Ultimates, which is amazing and introduces the Maker.
Dude, Ultimate X-Men.
But yeah,
Mark
all
Miller's stuff was
the
good.
pre-Ultimatum stuff,
Yeah.
so good. Not that X-Men and the Ultimatum like directly overlap, but like, you know, the Ultimatum kills characters in a stupid way, and it's just like,
Look at the Blob eats Wasp, and like does it like the thing just
meets the Blob.
right, and then what was it? The thing literally knocks on Doctor Doom's door and like kills him.
crushes
Like,
his head.
That's all it took. Like,
And it's so out of like, so like reading the Ultimates, Janet's one of like the main characters of the Ultimates. Like she's kind of like the heart of the team almost. Like,
Right.
and just like, yeah, that's, oh man, don't get me started on Ultimatum. But I will
sounds
say,
terrible.
if anybody listening hasn't read any of the pre-Ultimatum Ultimate Universe stuff, it holds up still real well.
yeah.
It's good stuff. Good stuff.
And that Ultimate X-Men stuff is solid too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because even after Miller leaves, I think like Brian K. Vaughan came on for like a year.
There's a
But
really
Bendis then Vaughn.
yeah. There's a lot of good Ultimate X-Men stuff. It didn't really start falling apart until like 50 plus issues in. Yeah, Kirkman kind of came in and but
Not his best, but the Mark Miller stuff though, so good. Like, there's a lot of that I think would work well for whatever X-Men movie comes down the pipeline. Like, I thought they explained. I mean, I love the explanation of the suits. You know, that you know, was to hide from the Sentinels because it couldn't detect their. You know, that was great. Wolverine is a total fucking asshole in that series. Like,
Him
unapologetically.
letting Cyclops fall off a cliff just so he could go back to the mansion and be like, yeah, Jean, he died, and like try to like sleep with Jean. Still one of like, I couldn't believe I read it in a Marvel comic. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
That
This
was
got past
fucking
editors?
dark.
Like,
dude, and you
holy
see,
shit.
dude, and the way they illustrate Cyclops laying at the bottom,
that's like a couple
holy
of issues
shit.
later too,
Yeah.
right? Like it's not even immediate. And then there's
he is
just, and
fucked
that's
up.
Adam Kubert
Oh my
at
god!
his
He got a
his
fat ass
finest.
lip. His
Such
arm
a
is
G.
all fucking dude, like not a pretty sight. And
Awesome.
like, and it's just Cyclops be like,
Awesome.
okay, like I gotta maintain consciousness. Like I gotta, you know.
It's good. It's a good character study on Cyclops too. Like they
absolutely.
Got it right. Yeah.
It's like people who like don't understand that character like need to read that, because that's why he's the leader of the fucking X-Men.
Yep.
And not Wolverine.
Yep. I always say that and the Astonishing Run.
Oh god. But yeah, that's a book club I would be totally down to do. Astonishing X-Men is great. But yeah, want anything to recommend? Anything you're reading, watching, and you want to read or watch?
I had a rough couple of weeks. So I've been going through some stuff.
I'm sorry. Yeah, my condolences.
Thank you. Appreciate it. But I've been looking for stuff that I know, like I know the general story beats, but just something to get me in a better mood. So I've been going through Brubaker's Cap Run. Like 40
the best run.
It's as good as I remember it, and holy shit, Marvel like really nailed that character in terms of the MCU. Like it's such, they actually even did it better, because like the comic keeps emphasizing that the only thing super about him is the arm, whereas the show just like goes full on like it's his arm and he has a version of the serum in his system. But that aside, I mean, the comic, it's so good. Good. And the stuff he does with Red Skull, it's like, I really want Red Skull to show up in the new Captain America movie somehow.
Yeah.
Especially if like all the gems got put back or something. Like maybe he doesn't need to be the Guardian of the Stone anymore. Maybe he can go somewhere else.
Yeah, Red Skull's too good of a villain. He's one of those like classic one-dimensional villains that I'm okay with.
Right. Like he's a Nazi. Like you just want to beat his ass because he's a Nazi. Like there's nothing straightforward. It's straight. Everybody can get on board with hating a Nazi. Like
yeah,
it's true.
So,
I mean, his face is a fucking skull. Like he looks like a bad guy. And he's like, I want to rule the world. Like it's just works for me. But yeah, the Ed Brubaker's stuff, as far as I'm concerned, probably the best Captain America run.
Easily by like leaps and bounds. I mean, the development for like Sam, the development for Sharon, the development for Buck. I mean, even the stuff with Fury where, you know, Captain America gets, you know, Bucky on the right path again, but Bucky's still underground, and the only person who works with him is Fury, and you don't even figure it out for like several issues.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's like, oh, he's clearly working with Nick Fury, and the other characters are like, yeah, of course he's working with Fury. Like, so good. It's so fucking good. And the art doesn't lose a step. I mean, it's Epting is incredible. And when it's not Epting, it's Mike Perkins. Like, it's so
solid.
Good.
Yeah.
So good.
I was actually telling Ansel about how much I loved that the first time Bucky steps out as Captain America fighting AIM.
I just read that like a couple of days ago.
It's so good.
Oh,
like,
man.
yeah, when he's like he throws a shield and one of the AIM guys like, oh, you missed. And he fucking shoots him. He's like, yeah, I'm going to do this Captain America thing my way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. So good.
Yeah.
Okay, Angela, anything you want to add as far as recommendations for?
Well, if you wanted something good, just kind of like take your mind off of life and just like make it happy and in kind of a terrible way, but in the right way, because sometimes we all just want to like shit on something. You need to watch Bar Rescue on Paramount.
Yeah.
John Tafford. This, I mean, and it's funny because a lot of these episodes like took place in like 2013, like, so it's definitely a kind of a trip back. But you see these bars and you see how they're run, and like Tafford has like pretty much like he's just like a level 1 where he's like very calm, or he's at level 9 and he's screaming and he looks like he's gonna give himself like an aneurysm.
Yeah.
And it's
Hilarious.
so fun.
It
and
is.
we've been watching a lot of episodes
It's
of
so
that.
great. He's
and
like, oh, it's a real pleasure to meet you. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, it's so good.
Jesus.
It's so great.
It's so great.
It's
I mean,
rad.
it's definitely for people who were big fans of like Hell's Kitchen or
Yeah.
like, you know, any
Kitchen
of that,
Nightmares,
Kitchen
yeah.
Nightmares and stuff like that. This is,
Okay.
I definitely think, the next step, because you basically, I mean, it's the easiest people too, because they're alcoholics that are running their own bars,
And they're
and so
idiots. And
Yeah.
exactly, and they're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
what alcoholics do.
They kinda
So
bring it
it's
on
just
themselves.
like, oh my god,
It's great because they're like,
amazing.
we need John's help, and he shows up. Fuck you! You know what you're talking about. It's
Yeah.
like, you called me, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and whenever they get to like Massachusetts, it's always a trip. It's
Oh,
always a
geez.
trip. We're just like, yeah, that's about right.
It's always
Yeah.
accents.
oh yeah, and it's like
It's always
amped up. So I started to buy in my car in a
Oh,
park.
And all of
Gold
those
socks.
places are closed now too.
Yes,
Like they
yeah.
rescue the
This
bar,
guy.
instantly close.
We Google them
The
just to
wicked
make
loser.
sure.
Check out their
Yeah.
Yelp reviews and stuff.
Yeah,
fucking
it's so
loser
good.
guy.
A couple of places are still open,
Some,
and the reviews
yeah.
are terrible.
but some are
it's
like,
amazing.
one exploded
Oh yeah,
Holy
one like-
shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
for reasons still unknown. FBI currently investigating.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a hard left. Like, let's
Yeah,
play.
pretty much.
It's a good-
Where are
I
they
mean, it's-
now? One exploded. Like, Jesus Christ.
It's basically, it's the show that nobody
keeps on
needs.
giving.
It's a show that nobody needs, but it's definitely the show we deserve, and it's great.
Oh my god, it brings a smile to my face
It
every
does.
night. It's such a good way to end the day because I imagine like him yelling at people I have to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so great. One thing I was gonna add that we watched that as a recent release is Werewolves Within.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
That was a fun. It's a murder whodunit. And it's actually based on a PC video game, and I guess the game, because I had to research this after I heard about it. It's like set in a medieval village, and you have to figure out who's the werewolf. But they modernized it, and it was a lot of fun.
That's
It
cool.
was.
Yeah, I didn't think it was like, it wasn't scary, but it was like,
No, they definitely kind of do. It reminded me a lot of Hot Fuzz, actually.
yeah, a bit of
a lot of the
Hot
way
Fuzz,
the-
Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, the way the
Yeah,
cut scenes were and stuff.
yeah, it's
it
very
was fun.
very. I think Edgar
That's a
Wright.
We giggled.
That's a high recommendation because I love Hot Fuzz. It's
Yeah,
like
same
my
here.
second favorite Edgar
Yeah.
Wright movie.
So Werewolves Within was really good. You can rent it on iTunes for $6.99 if you can't go to a theater. I thought it was worth it. I
Absolutely.
might even
Yep.
kind of buy it when you can, because I'll definitely watch it again.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
it
Not
was
to be
really
confused with the what is that movie? What
Weekend
We
at
Do in the
Bernie's?
Shadows sequel. It's
oh
supposed to be made called Werewolves.
yes,
They've not made it yet.
yeah.
I still think that is the greatest name for a sequel spinoff to that movie.
Yeah.
Werewolves.
Werewolves. Yeah.
It's
No,
so good.
it is. I love, and also, I mean, it was a Rise Darby.
Yeah, because they don't swear. They don't
yeah,
swear. That's my
because we're
favorite part about it.
werewolves, not swearwolves.
Yeah, exactly. It's so good.
What We Do in the Shadows is also the movie and the
The
TV
show,
show.
TV
Fucking
show.
hilarious.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the show. Jackie Daytona.
I was.
Jackie
I need a
Daytona.
Jackie Daytona T-shirt, like in
It's
my
so
life.
I love your accent. Yes, I'm from Arizona. And actually, also the kid, was it the familiar from the
Mhm.
show? He's in
He's
Werewolves
in
Within.
Werewolves Within.
Oh,
yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
I love it. I
And he
love
plays
it.
a great character
Yes,
as well.
Guillermo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Guillermo.
Yeah, Guillermo.
Fucking guy. Yeah. Yeah. He's great in that too.
Yeah.
So
it's a good time. So.
Dope.
yeah, absolutely.
I love how you think of this thing that's actually like relevant, and I'm like, bar rescue.
Paramount Plus
That's awesome.
is streaming. Check it out. And it's
We all have
great,
our
though.
stuff. Big Brother just started, so I'm like super excited. It's like my favorite reality show.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is
Oh.
straight garbage, but it is fun garbage.
We all gotta have our garbage.
It's the
Oh, yeah.
quarantine show before quarantine happened.
Yeah.
Mm.
They've been quarantining for 22 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. One thing I was going to mention real quick before I wrap up the show, I wanted to give a shout out to somebody who's not going to listen to our show, but I want to do it anyway because he's a super nice guy. I found a gentleman on Instagram, Super Tom Customs, who does these really cool custom pieces. Like he got me. I bought this really cool Cyclops beam anger thing from him, and he recently did a was it a Amal Farouk? From,
very cool.
Yeah, with a cane. Yeah, it also comes with a collar that somehow got damaged in the mail. Everything else was okay, so I sent him an email, being, hey, this is not an angry email.
Honestly, I think it's the heat that did it.
It could be, but I like how he handled this. I had said, I love your stuff. All your products are great. I'm gonna continue to support you. Things are hard right now. I'm not asking for a refund because I know people are trying to make money where they can. If you could advise me on how I can fix it. And he was like, no, just mail it back to me. I'll fix it, send you a new one. So I feel like in this day and age, we talk about the world being crummy. Sometimes it's just nice when people are nice. And so, yeah, Super Tom Customs. Check out his stuff. I bought a really nice bearded Reed Richards off of him because I didn't like the one that Hasbro did. And it's good. It's a really nice full beard. But yeah, as always, thanks for listening. Bit of a long one tonight. Appreciate you hanging in there with us. Don't forget to like us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Drop us some love on iTunes. Give us some of them stars.
Bye.
Peace.
And have fun exploring the multiverse.